Hi guys, I'm Ivory and today I'm going to be doing a review and tutorial on the Kristi and Colourpop at Foresight eyeshadow palette. This is what the palette will look like. I did do 2 looks with this eyeshadow palette and I used 9 out of the 12 shades. So I have a pretty good feel of the quality of this palette. I'm probably the last person to review this, but I got this a week ago, but I haven't had time to sit down and film because I got another foster dog. It's like my 7th one. Not 7 in the house, but the 7th foster I've taken in. I also want to say I'm such a big fan of Kristi. I feel like I know so much about her that if I actually met her in person, she'd be creeped out by me. Like I would be overexcited and word vomit, and then when she leaves our interaction, she's gonna be like, that girl Ivory gives me Ted Bundy vibes. So I feel like for that reason alone, even though I'm such a big fan of her, if I ever saw her in person, I don't think I could approach her because I feel like I'd creep her out. Like I said, I did 2 looks with this eyeshadow palette, this being one of them, but I will put timestamps in my description box so that way you can skip around and actually just go to the part that you actually came for. And that's it. So let's get on to look number 1. Mo? Hi, honey. Hi. I didn't know you were down here. Hi. Oh my goodness. Someone wanted to come say hello. This is Moo. She's our foster for the next week and a half. Yesterday I introduced her to the stairs because before she didn't want to come into the basement, but I taught her how to go on the stairs yesterday and I didn't expect her to follow me down here, but she did. For anyone that didn't pick up, her name is Moo because she's black and white like a cow and cows go moo. Jokes are always funny when you have to explain why they're funny. Hi Millie! Oh my god, we have another visitor. Come up here. Oh my god. So many puppies. Hi! Hi! Oh, you guys, I'm filming. Millie off. Thank you. And then Moo, I'm sorry. I gotta kick you out. Say goodbye. All right, so I did one eye off of camera so that I can coherently tell you what steps I'm gonna do as opposed to just winging it like I do half the time. I'm first gonna prime using the NYX eyeshadow base. It looks white like this. It can look intimidating, but the nice thing about this is that it shears out pretty easily. So even if you're doing, say, a neutral look, it's not gonna be stark white. You can make it stark white and build it up for that. And this is the base that I'm using for all the looks. With a fluffy brush, I'm first gonna go into Old Growth. I really like this shade. I love dusty pinks. I'm gonna start blending it in the outer corner, keeping most of the pigment there, and then working my way slowly inwards when there's less product. I'm doing a really simple, tame look because I'm actually going to go visit my in-laws for Thanksgiving. We're not necessarily staying there, but Steve's mom decided she was going to be making food and that we can pick up the food. So we'll just stop by for like a couple minutes to say hi and then be on our way, but we're not eating there. And this is the first time we haven't celebrated Thanksgiving with this family in 10 years, which is no, we've been together 10 years, but we've celebrated 11 Thanksgivings together. So this is the first time out of the 11 Thanksgivings that we've been together that I haven't celebrated with this family. That's crazy. Oh my God. So I'm trying to keep this pretty light-handed. I actually don't want too much to show. I want kind of just like a nice subtle flush of this. I purposely wanted the look to look subdued. Like even this lid color is a little bit too pow for what I was going for, but it's the only one that I could really use. I mean, I did use a little bit of this one, you'll see, but even this is a little bit too bold because even though Steve's parents they're so nice, they are the most wonderful in-laws ever, they are a little bit, they're kind of square. So I really tone down my looks when I'm around them. And then with a Sigma E25, I'm gonna go into West Coast and that's gonna go all over the lid. Now, this isn't nearly as vibrant as it can get. Like I already told you guys, I toned it down on purpose because of where I'm going, but if you used your finger, this would be even brighter. Not that this isn't already very impressive, but I'm just saying it can level up from this. And then with my finger, I'm going into Evergreen and I'm just gonna tap that ever so slightly at the tail end of the gold. And then once that's down, I'm gonna use the brush that I use for the gold. I'm just gonna blend the lines a little bit more. And then with the Sigma E44, I'm gonna go into the shade Rainier. I'm gonna tap that on the outer corner. And then using the brush that I use for Old Growth, I'm just gonna blend all the edges and then give everything a once over. I'm gonna go ahead and do my base on camera because I still have to get ready. But if you don't care for this part, just go ahead and skip it. I'm gonna put timestamps in my description box below so that you could see where each look begins and ends. I'm gonna first start off by priming. I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip. I'm just gonna apply that to the areas where I get the oiliest. And then with the remaining product, I will just spread it outwards. And then for foundation, I've been mixing these two, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus and the Rare Beauty Weightless Foundation, I think this was called. I really like both of them together. This year, since I have nothing to do at home, I decided I actually want to go full out with the decorations in my house. Usually I only put up the tree and then I'm just like, okay, I'm done. But this year I want to do better. So I went on Etsy and I got me and Steve customized stockings to hang by the fireplace. And I had to get it custom. I mean, I could have gotten Steve's, but I wanted ours to match. And when was the last time you saw a stocking that actually said Ivory? I've never seen that in my life. And then I got Steve's to match. And this year I got customized ornaments for the Christmas tree. So I got one for me and Steve. It said Mr. and Mrs. Cherry with like a wedding photo of ours as an ornament. One each for my dogs. They're double-sided, so each of my dogs I took a very recent picture. And then on the other side of it, I put pictures of the day that we adopted them. So it's almost like I got 2 ornaments for one because like I could switch either side. One year I could do the puppy photos, the other year I could do like the adult photos. I can mix and match. And I also plan, when things die down, to go Christmas shopping for just a couple things. Like I want I think it's called a garland, and I want that to go over our coffee table. And you know, just like a couple of decor items. Every single year I always say I'm gonna buy things after Christmas because then they're on sale and they're like super cheap. But then I never do, because when I go look for the items, all the good stuff is taken already and all the scraps are left. And also most of the time after Christmas, I'm just over Christmas. So I don't even want to go shopping for Christmas because it's like, we just celebrated it. So this year I decided I'm not gonna wait till after Christmas. I'm just gonna do it because it's a one-time purchase. And that way I have like a large selection to choose from. Why don't we finish up the lower lash line? It's gonna be really easy. I'm gonna take the brush that I used, Old Growth, dip right into it again, pinch the bristles, run that along the lash line, and we're done. Keeping it real easy breezy today. And I've been liking doing this step before I set my under eyes because the concealer makes it kind of sticky. So it's kind of like eyeshadow base. And then to set my under eyes, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Powder in number 2. I'm only setting the areas that I applied concealer, and I'm not setting the rest of my face. Now that my face is normal combo, are those the same things? Kind of, right? But now that my skin is not as oily, I actually don't have to set my entire face. So I've been skipping that step, and my foundation is staying just as nicely. So I've been really enjoying my new skin type. And I'm not baking, I'm just setting the concealer. All right, let's add some bronzer. I'm using the Morphe one, and I'm gonna add that to my forehead. That's another thing. Because I use powder products, it's almost like I'm setting my face without having to do the extra step of adding powder, so I don't have to use as much product. And then for blush, I'm actually gonna go into Old Growth. I want to try and see how this looks on my cheeks because I really think that this could be a good blush color. I forgot to clean my brush. I wasn't anticipating using that color for blush. So as you can see, I'm not well prepared. I'm just gonna wipe it vigorously on a paper towel and get some of this product off. Good enough. It's clean to the point where it's not exactly hygienic, but it will do. Wow, okay, so I barely tapped into that. It's subtle, but I do like this, and it kind of just ties in the eye look. I'm loving this as blush. It actually kind of looks like the blush that I always use, which is from the BALM. Hold on. They're like exactly the same shade. And this is the shade that I was gonna use. So it's like, did I even do anything groundbreaking? Probably not. I'm gonna quickly apply some mascara. I'm not gonna show it because I assume you guys know how to apply mascara. She's so rude. And then I'm gonna throw on a really basic lip color, and that's gonna be look number 1. All right, we're moving on to look number 2. I'm starting off using the Sigma E44 brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Amanita. The shade name reminds me of American Dad. You know the character Steve, his middle name is Anita, and there was this one bit where his dad was calling him and he got his voicemail, and he's like, hello, you've reached Steve and Anita. I'm Anita, call you back later. It was something stupid like that, but the shade name reminds me of that.
This is the voicemail box of Stephen Anita Smith. I'm Anita, call you back.
But I'm gonna take Amanita and I'm gonna place this on the outer portion of my eye. You could also do the yellow first, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna do purple first. Wait a minute, this is wrong. This isn't the first step. Hold on. Okay, I haven't messed this completely up yet. I'm actually gonna take a big fluffy brush, and I first went into the shade Puffball, and I applied that all over the eye. I usually skip the lid since I already am going in with other colors, but I start out with the outer corner, and then once I have most of that packed in, I will move inwards. And I just like this to be in the background, and it does help blend the other colors. And once there's little pigment left, I am gonna move this all the way up and also touch my eyebrows with this. And then we go in with Amanita. We're gonna pack this down and pretty much do the same thing, except we're not gonna go all the way in. Probably about, what is this? Like 40% of the way in. So what you want to do first is you want to pack it down and go 30% of the way in, and then you apply the yellow, and then that point where they would meet is when you go back and forth between your brushes so that you can blend them. So you're going to go back and forth quite a bit, but it's worth it. That is what I have to tell myself every single time. I refuse to convince myself otherwise. And I like to do a rough sketch at first, just so that I have everything laid out. And then with a Sigma E25 brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Chanterelle and I place that into the other half. You can see the area where they're starting to meet. It's a little bit harsh right now, but just give it some time. I find that doing my method, things go a little bit faster. I mean, it is still a little bit time consuming, but trying to do each thing perfectly before moving on to the next step never really works out because I end up going back anyways. So all that time you spent trying to make it perfect. It's not a waste, but it's kind of a waste. All right, so now that the colors are laid down, let's just spend some time going back and forth, blending it on up. And once that's done, I'm gonna take a Morphe M506. I have two separate ones right now. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm only gonna blend the yellow upwards just so that it's not a stark cut crease because that's not what I'm going for. I want it to be diffused like this. I almost poked my eye out. I felt the brush touch my eyelashes and I thought I was gonna cut my cornea again. That has happened to me before. It wasn't my fault though. My husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time. I think we were grocery shopping, but he was just flailing his arms while he was talking and then his finger grazed my eye and it hurt immediately, and the whole day I was bitching and moaning about it. Like I was like, something feels weird on my eye, like it feels like there's a cut or it's bruised, like something's irritating it. And then the next day I couldn't open my eye. So I called him to tell him because it freaked me out, and then he took me to the doctors and they confirmed he scratched my cornea. So that's a nice memory. But anyway, I'm gonna take the other M506 and I'm gonna blend up the purple. And this is the time where I would touch up and tweak it a little bit. So as you can see, when I blended it, it faded a little bit. So I'm gonna go back into Anita. Sorry, it's Amanita. And I'm gonna re-pat that down and make sure it's nice and concentrated. Take a little brush again, blend, blend, blend. And then same thing with the yellow. Easy peasy. Okay, we're gonna move on to the lower lash line. I went ahead and added a little bit of the same primer. I'm going in with the Morphe M321 brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Fiddlehead. I'm gonna apply that to the inner half. And it doesn't have to be perfect because ow. Hold back your tears, you don't wanna mess it up. It's okay if it's not perfect because I'm gonna blend it out anyways. I'm gonna take the same brush and I'm gonna use a color switch. And then on this other half, I'm going in with PNW. Pinw. Does anyone else do that when they see an abbreviation? The next thing that they do is they sound it out as if it was a real word. Like if I see the abbreviation YMCA, right after that I say Yimka. Now that I've said that out loud, I think I sound really weird. But I'm gonna take PNW, or if you're like me, Pinw. Now I'm applying it to this area. You're watching me do it. And as you can see, this looks super sloppy. That's okay. I'm gonna take the brush that I used to blend out Chanterelle, the yellow, and I'm gonna buff these edges. And then last, for the inner corner, I'm taking a M431 brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Evergreen, and we're just gonna pop that right into the inner corner. And this is the second look all complete. With the exception of the inner corner, everything is matte. Normally I wouldn't think to pair these types of colors together, but I think it works. So out of the 12 shades, I did use 9 and I really liked how all of them performed. With the exception of this one, I don't really know how this one would perform. It's a matte color, but it has shimmers in it, like red shimmers, red and gold maybe? Hold on. Yeah, there's a little bit of a shift to it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like these types of finishes. It's either be matte or be shimmer or be nothing. For me at least, I never find uses for shades like this, so I probably wouldn't really use this, but I'm gonna assume that the two other mattes that I didn't use are gonna be the same type of quality as the other mattes that I've used. And overall, I really enjoyed this palette. I do wish that there was maybe one more shimmer that was less gold than this, maybe like a champagne color, but that's just a personal preference for me. But if you like this color story, if it is speaking to you, you will like this quality. It is very good. Colourpop, to me, it's hit or miss with their palettes. Some of them I really like, some of them are okay. And sometimes even within the palettes, some of the colors are good and then others are not. But in this case, all the colors performed really well. But that is it for this review and tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I try to post new videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.